All right, so are you ready to dive deep into a movie today?
Always ready for a good film.
Okay, perfect. So we're talking about the film Sarfira,
Okay.
which is a Hindi remake of Soorarai Pottru, the Tamil hit.
Right.
And we've got this great review from MovieKaTicket.com.
Yeah.
And we want to kind of unpack, does it soar or does it crash?
Well, the first thing that really struck me about Sarfira was that it's based on a true story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's based on the memoir of G.R. Gopinath, who founded Air Deccan,
Wow.
one of India's first low-cost airlines.
Wow.
So this is not just some fictional story about ambition and dreams.
Right.
This is really rooted in reality.
So it's like we're seeing the birth of budget airlines.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just about like making flying cheaper,
Right?
but it's about changing the whole idea of who gets to fly. You know, in a country like India, where air travel was seen as a luxury for the elite,
Yeah.
this guy Gopinath had this vision to make it accessible to everyone.
So he's like democratizing the skies.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's breaking down those barriers and opening up opportunities for millions of people to travel,
To connect, to do business.
to experience the world in a way that they never could before.
Yeah, and the movie, I mean, it follows that same trajectory, right?
It does, yeah. The film follows Vir Jagannath Mhatre. He's the main character, played by Akshay Kumar.
Okay.
And he has that same drive, that same ambition to make air travel affordable for the masses.
Okay, but there's got to be some conflict,
And
right?
there's plenty of conflict.
Okay.
The review mentions that Vir's father is like a total opposite.
Okay.
He's like this traditionalist who believes in nonviolent activism. He thinks that, real change comes from working within the system.
Okay.
Whereas Vir is like ready to disrupt the system to break the rules if he has to.
Well, that's got to cause some tension.
Oh, yeah, big time. It's this clash of ideologies.
I mean, it makes you think about the different ways that people approach change.
Right, exactly. And which methods are more effective. Do you achieve more by working within the system or by challenging it head on?
It's a classic debate, right?
Totally. Like revolution versus reform.
Yeah. So does the film like favor one side or the other?
It's interesting because it doesn't really seem to take sides.
Oh.
It presents both perspectives. It shows the complexities of the issue, like how deeply rooted social structures can be, and how sometimes you need more than just individual ambition to really make a lasting change.
So Akshay Kumar, how does he do as this revolutionary figure?
Well, the review says he delivers a solid performance.
Oh.
But maybe not quite as emotionally powerful as the original Tamil film.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Soorarai Pottru set a pretty high bar,
I mean, remakes always face that challenge, right?
They do. It's those comparisons.
Yeah.
It's hard to recapture the same magic, especially when you're translating across languages and cultures.
So it's not just about the acting then.
No, it's about the whole adaptation process,
No.
How do you take a story that resonated so deeply with one audience and make it feel fresh and relevant for another audience?
Yeah. And sometimes things get lost in translation, I guess.
Sometimes they do. In this case, it sounds like some of the emotional depth from the original might be missing.
Okay, but what about the other characters?
Well, the review actually praises Radhika Madan.
Oh.
She plays Ronnie Vir's wife.
Okay.
They say she's a standout.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great to see a strong female character.
Especially in a movie that could so easily just focus on the guy's journey, right?
Exactly, but Ronnie is more than just a supporting character.
Oh,
She's
good.
Vir's anchor, she's his rock,
Okay.
She supports his ambition, but she also grounds him in reality.
Right.
And it sounds like Radhika Madan really brings that dynamic to life.
So it seems like there's a lot to like about the film.
Yeah. There's the ambition, the conflict, the performances.
Right.
But the review does point out a few flaws.
Such as?
Well, they say the pacing drags a bit in the second half.
Pacing can be tricky, can it?
It can, sometimes you want a fast-paced, action-packed movie.
Oh, right.
And sometimes you're in the mood for something slower, more character-driven.
And what about the music?
Well, they said it was good, but not particularly memorable.
Ah, so it didn't quite elevate the film in the way a really powerful soundtrack can.
Right, music can add so much to a movie.
Yeah, it can create atmosphere, build tension. Yeah.
Exactly. It can really enhance the emotional impact of a scene.
Okay, so now for the bad news.
Oh.
The box office.
What happened?
It underperformed.
Really?
Yeah, even with a star like Akshay Kumar, it seems like audiences weren't that captivated.
I wonder why.
Well, I guess that's what we need to figure out.
Sounds like a good mystery to solve.
All right, so let's dive into that after a quick break.
Sounds good. Yeah, it is kind of a mystery, isn't it?
It is a mystery.
You have this big star, like Akshay Kumar.
Yeah.
A compelling story based on real life.
but it didn't quite connect with the audience like they expected.
Right. And, you think about Gopinath's story, all those obstacles he faced. I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible that he was able to achieve what he did.
It's like one thing after another.
Right? It was regulatory hurdles, financial struggles.
Skepticism from the big players who don't want this new guy coming in and disrupting things.
Exactly. And yet he persevered.
Driven by that belief
Yeah.
that everybody should have the chance to fly.
Mm-hmm. That unwavering conviction.
Yeah. And it's funny because that kind of ties back into the conflict with his father in the movie.
Oh, right. How so?
Well, because it's like that same kind of clash,
Okay.
between tradition and disruption.
Mm-hmm.
Like the father represents that older generation that believes in gradual change.
And within the system.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have Vir, who's like, nope, things need to change now.
He's impatient.
He's ready to break the rules.
To shake things up.
Yeah. And I wonder if that reflects like a generational shift that's happening in India.
Yeah, I mean, we see that kind of impatience for change all over the world, don't we?
Yeah, it's like technology has sped everything up.
And people are demanding more access, more inclusivity.
Yeah. And the old ways of doing things just aren't cutting it anymore.
Exactly. And that clash, that's what makes this story so relatable.
It's that universal struggle to make a difference,
To leave your mark on the world.
Yeah, and to challenge those who say it can't be done.
Right. And it makes you think about the different ways to approach change.
Yeah.
Is it better to work within the system or to disrupt it from the outside?
Tough question.
Yeah, there's no easy answer.
And the movie doesn't really give us a clear answer, does it?
No, it just presents both sides and lets the audience grapple with it.
That's the beauty of storytelling, though, right?
Totally. It sparks those conversations.
Yeah, it makes you think.
So let's talk about the pacing and the music.
Okay.
Because the review mentioned those as kind of drawbacks.
Yeah. Pacing can be so crucial in a movie.
It can make or break the whole experience.
Especially in a longer film like Sarfira, you need to keep the audience engaged.
And music can play a huge role in that too, right?
Absolutely. A good soundtrack can really elevate the emotional impact of a film. It can transport you into the world of the story.
Right. But if the music isn't memorable, it can leave you feeling a bit detached.
So it sounds like Sarfira stumbled a bit in those areas.
A little bit, but, the review still recommended it as a decent watch.
Especially for those who haven't seen the original.
Exactly. So if you're looking for a good story and you haven't seen Soorarai Pottru yet,
Sarfira could be a good option.
definitely.
All right, so back to the box office puzzle.
Okay, let's try to crack this case.
Why do you think this film, with all its potential, didn't perform as well as expected?
It's hard to say for sure,
Yeah.
but I think being a remake might have worked against it.
Okay, how so?
Well, some people might have been hesitant to see a retelling of a story they already knew.
Especially if they love the original.
Exactly. They might have thought, why bother watching the remake?
It can't possibly be as good.
Right. And then there's the factor of audience expectations.
Yeah, with Akshay Kumar in the lead role, people might have been expecting something different.
Like more
More typical Akshay Kumar kind of movie.
And when they didn't get that, they might have been disappointed.
That makes sense.
And then there's the fact that Bollywood is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Audiences are becoming more sophisticated, their tastes are changing.
What worked a few years ago might not work today.
Exactly. So it's a complex mix of factors.
But at the end of the day, Sarfira still tells a powerful story.
It does. It's a story about dreaming big and fighting for what you believe in.
About breaking down barriers and making a difference in the world.
And that's a message that always resonates.
Yeah. And it's inspiring to see someone like that in action,
It is. It's like they see the world differently.
Yeah. They don't accept the limitations that other people put on them.
They have this vision and they just go for it.
And they inspire others to do the same.
Exactly. So the review said it's a decent watch.
Especially for people who haven't seen the original.
Right. But what about for people who have seen Soorarai Pottru?
Yeah. Is it still worth watching the remake?
Well, I think it could be interesting to see how they adapted it.
Yeah, to see it through a different lens.
Exactly. Like, how did they translate the story for a Hindi audience?
What choices did they make in terms of casting and music and the overall style?
Right. And it's like translating a book.
Oh, yeah.
It's never a word-for-word process. You have to capture the essence of the story and convey it in a way that resonates with a new audience.
And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Exactly. So I think it really depends on the individual viewer.
Yeah.
Some people might love the remake. Some might prefer the original.
So what would you recommend to our listeners?
Well, if they're looking for a Hindi film experience and they enjoy Akshay Kumar,
Then Sarfira could be a good choice.
Yeah, but if they
Oh.
want to see the story in its original form with all the nuances that made it a critical hit,
Then Soorarai Pottru is the way to go.
exactly. Or they could watch both and compare.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. So before we wrap up, you always leave us with a little something to think about.
Oh, right. I almost forgot.
A final thought that goes beyond the movie itself.
Okay, so here's what I was thinking. Sarfira is set in a time when the idea of making air travel affordable was revolutionary.
Right.
But now we're talking about space tourism becoming a reality.
Wow.
So if Vir's story were set in the present day, what would his ambition be?
Would he still be focused on airlines?
Or would he be setting his sights on democratizing access to space?
That's a great question.
It makes you think about how quickly technology is advancing.
And how our dreams have to evolve along with it.
Exactly what was once considered impossible is now becoming possible.
So what will be the next frontier?
What new dreams will capture our imaginations?
That is a question worth pondering well on that note. I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Sarfira.
It's been a pleasure.
And a big thanks to MovieKaTicket.com for the insightful review.
They always have great insights.
Until next time, keep exploring those new horizons and keep reaching for those impossible dreams.
And keep watching those movies.
Absolutely. See you next time.